Today's episode is inspired by anybody in my life who has told me, oh, you better be careful. Things like, hey, once you start your business, you know that you're not going to have a lot of time for your health. Or, hey, you know that once you have kids, your business is going to slow down. Or once you start having kids, I heard the relationship with your wife isn't what it used to be. Let me tell you what, you can have it all. And here's how.
Didn't even get to cross.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Momentum Monday. My name is Steve Holbrook, and as usual, I will be your host today. Man, I am hoping that you are going to be as fired up after this podcast episode as I am going through it. Today's episode is inspired by anybody in my life who has told me, oh, you better be careful. Things like, hey, once you start your business, you know that you're not going to have a lot of time for your health. Or, hey, you know that once you have kids, your business is going to slow down. Or once you start having kids, I heard the relationship with your wife isn't what it used to be. Let me tell you what, you can have it all. And here's how. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have it all together. I'm going to sit here and tell you that I'm in pursuit of getting better in every area of my life that I've designated important. Every area of my life that I've designated important. Look, you can have a strong career and a great marriage. You can raise amazing children and have a home full of faith and still run a business and still have a relationship with your grandparents. You can have it all. It's super important that you understand that. But my first point as we get into this topic, because I'm going to hop right into it because I'm fired up today. My first point to having it all, here's how. My first point is you need to clearly define your purposes. You need to clearly define your purposes. If you're going to have it all, what's all to you? What does that mean? What are you after? What are the areas? So in your health, what specifically, clearly is your purpose right now with your health journey? In your relationship with your kids, what's the purpose? What's the outcome? What are you after? If you don't clearly define, this is my first point. If you don't clearly define what all is to you, you're not going to do it. Look, at the end of the day, you're trying to get organized. You're trying to get efficient, and you're trying to crush your life. You better know what values and what goals you're aligning with before you do it. I heard this story about 5 years ago about Sir Richard Branson. I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to get a couple of the details wrong with the story. But basically, a group of entrepreneurs were trying to get Sir Richard Branson to come and speak to their group. And they reached out to his manager and they said, look, we'd like to offer Sir Richard Branson, I believe it was $100,000 to come and speak for 3 hours. And Sir Richard Branson's team emailed this group back and said, I'm sorry, he's unable to do that. So they sent him back another email and offered him double the amount of money to come and speak at their event, double the money for half the speaking time. And shortly after, they got an email back saying, look, Sir Richard Branson's not going to be able to do this event. And the final time they said, look, we're a bunch of wealthy entrepreneurs. You tell us how much money it's going to take to get Sir Richard Branson here for even half an hour. And he got an email, this group got an email back. And it said, look, we apologize. We should have been more clear earlier on. At the beginning of this year, Sir Richard Branson wrote down 4 purposes that he's aligned with. And coming to speak at this event is not aligned with any one of those 4 things. So there's no amount of money that you can pay to get Sir Richard Branson to your event this calendar year. Man, when I heard that story, I thought, wow, there's a guy who knows exactly what he's after. Because if you don't know exactly what you're after, you're going to find yourself doing a lot of things that are not in line with your purpose. After everything you do, after every day and every week, you should ask yourself, am I doing things that are in line with my purpose? I'm spending time with my kids. Yep, that's in line with my purpose. Quality time with my kids, that's in line with my purpose. Friday night, I was watching Netflix with my wife. Yep, hanging out with my wife, right? Watching some Netflix, that's also in line with my purpose because that's important to us to get that time together, right? At the gym, yep, that's in line with my purpose. But over here, I was doing nothing for 4 hours, or I was doing some things that I probably shouldn't have been doing, or I was activating some bad habits, not in line with my purpose. So if you don't know what your purpose is or your purposes are in certain areas, you're going to find yourself wandering all the time. Number 2, my second point to you can have it all, here's how. Time allocation, not time management. Time allocation, not time management. You can't manage time. You'll never be able to manage time. People that try and manage time always fail. You have to allocate time. So once you decide what are the most important things that you're after, then you have to decide how much time per week you need to allocate towards these things. For example, we need to do a date night once a week. Well, that's going to be about 5 hours. Okay, I need to hit the gym 3 days a week. That's going to be about another 5 hours. If you don't allocate time to the activities and the things you need to do ahead of time, if you have space in your calendar, you're just going to fill it. And what it should have been an hour and a half workout turns into a 2.5 hour workout. And although you're feeling good that day about having some extra exercise, that's taking away from another area of your life that you should be focusing on. Remember, you're after it all. So you're going to have to get super clear on what you want. And the second is you're going to have to get really good at allocating time to those things that are important. My third point, everything goes in the calendar. Everything goes in the calendar. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Well, now the work starts, Steve. This sounds like it's becoming work. Yeah, it is work. But once you get on top of it and once you learn how to do this, it doesn't feel like work, right? It feels like passion. So get your calendar out and put everything in your calendar. All the things that you said were important to you and all the times that you allocated towards those, now put them in your calendar. Block off time for everything. I block off time for everything. There should not be a 3-hour blank space called white space in your calendar. If you go back a day or two ago and you had these 2-hour slot or 3-hour slot, what were you doing with that time? Every hour should be allocated. Even if it's time to just hang out and do nothing, you should block that off. Because if you need time to just kind of zone out, which I do, if I don't block that time off, I always fill it with other things. I always fill it with other stuff. And I might be pulling into areas that are important to me, like I might be doing extra health stuff or extra family stuff. But if that was a time that I needed to just recharge and be with myself and I didn't take it, it's going to cost me on the other end. My calendar is non-negotiable. Everything goes in my calendar. Point number 4. You ready for it? You do everything in your calendar. You do everything in your calendar. Well, that sounds super easy to do, Steve. Yeah, it's easy to do, but it's really easy not to do. You want to know why? Because we tend to operate emotionally versus habitually. Our emotions run our life, not our habits. So not only do we have a bad habit of not putting everything on our calendar, we also have that bad habit of once things are in our calendar, not actually doing them. And how do you think that starts to play in your psychology? You just break promise after promise after promise to yourself. I've been there. It's not good. So habits over emotion. I want you to just kind of back it up. Imagine this. You know exactly what you're after in each area. All this is important to you. You allocate time that you should be spending on it per week. You put all of that in your calendar, including your chill time, your downtime, your prayer time, whatever. Workout time, whatever is important to you and whatever you need, your sleep time, it's all in there. Okay, so it's all in the calendar. And then you actually do everything that's in the calendar. I know, this is mind-boggling stuff, right? This is like, how could this be so simple, Steve? Thanks for putting it in a podcast. Yeah, well, if everybody was doing it, we wouldn't need to talk about it. If everybody did it, then everybody would be maxing out their life. Everybody would be doing things that are only in line with their purpose. We'd all be feeling super good about ourselves. We'd all have high self-esteem because we'd never be breaking any promises to ourselves, because we'd be strictly habit-driven versus emotionally driven. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So even if you know this stuff, the question isn't whether you know it. It's, are you applying it in your life? And if you're applying it, can you teach it to other people? Can you transfer this to other people? Whether it's a friend or a business colleague or a child, are you able to transfer this? Because what good is it if you just know this? Your ability to teach it is what's truly, truly going to give you the significance that you're looking for. And number 5, numero 5. Number 5, have fun along the way. And have fun along the way. It's the journey. It's the journey that's the fun. It's not the destination. Look, there's no destination to having it all. By the way, there's no such thing as having it all. You can have enough, but you can't have it all. Because having it all means you're still in the hunt. There's still growth left. You're still after some contribution. You're still a little bit out of balance because you're still moving forward. You're never going to sit back and go, man, I have it all. You could say I have enough. But as human beings, we have this need for growth. We have this need for contribution. So there's always a journey behind the next journey, if you know what I'm saying. There's always a journey behind the next journey. So don't waste your years waiting to be happy, waiting to start having fun. Be happy now. Have fun now. And yes, you're going to evolve. And yes, you're probably after bigger and better. And yes, having more income will solve some of your problems. And yes, you know what? Having a bigger family, if that's been your dream your whole life, you know what? I'll pray for you. And hopefully God delivers. But either way, there's a journey behind the next journey. You're never going to feel like you have it all. You're always going to feel a little bit like you're chasing. And that's okay. You're just after more growth. You're just after more contribution because you understand that stagnation doesn't exist. So of course you're after something. But don't wait. Don't wait to have fun. Find the joy in every single day. And you'll start to realize, you know what? You already have enough to be grateful. And you already have enough to be happy. You still want more. You're still frustrated. You're still dissatisfied. But you're happy. And you're getting after it every day. And you're doing it with gratitude in your heart. So guys, you can have it all. And that's how. So I hope you guys got some value from that. If you need to rewind it and listen to it again and take some notes, please do. And as usual, guys, you can find me at sholbrook.com on my blog. You can find me obviously on Instagram, where most people find me at Holbrook's World. I'm on Facebook at Holbrook's World. And my podcast is on all the major podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, and so on. And I got to tell you, our download percentage is way up. We're getting way more downloads every single week. It just seems like this podcast is compounding. Again, it was just something that I started to get some of my leadership principles that I've learned over the years that I'm applying in my life. I just wanted to help people. I wanted to help more people. So I started recording it and started publishing it. So I hope you're getting value. This is not how I make my money. This is my passion. So please share it. Please give me a review. Please go rate it. Please give me some love and share it with somebody that you care about. And I look forward to continuing this for a long time. So appreciate you guys. Have an amazing day. And remember, you can have it all. That's how.